Hello and welcome to Nithrania YouTube channel. My name is Branislav Berec, and in this video we're going to take a look at the new Formula 1 racing game coming to a crowdfunding campaign very soon. It's called FALCON'S Formula. It's from Falcon Games. It's a publisher based in Czech Republic, and this is a racing game from the current modern era. So you will see qualifications, you will see pit stop, various tire compounds, ERS, DRS, you will see attacking, blocking tactics. Everything that I'm going to show in this video is a prototype version of the game. Even the rules they're almost final, but they're not final yet. There might be changes, there might be still some adjustments in terms of better game balance or smoother play or even more interesting game mechanics. So everything is subject to a change, and without any further ado, let's get started. So as I said, Falcon's Formula is the modern Formula 1 racing game. The game board is double-sided, so there is another track on the other side. The prototype came with 2 tracks, and it has a lot of elements from the modern era racing. These are boxes. You can see that each team has different tire compounds ready. We have DRS zones, 2 zones on this track. We have ERS. The weather may change as well. Here we have the safety car, yellow flags and green flags, and various track limit violation tokens. These red ones are penalty tokens. You need to take a penalty during the pit stop. And we also have AI cards, so there's always a full grid of 12 cards in this race, in this game. And those cards that are not driven by players are driven by AI cards, very simple and very easy to use. We have some pit wall cards, which are commands that the team can issue to their riders, so these are usually positive effects. Action cards represent some events on the track, usually with some negative or slightly negative effects. And this is how the player board looks like. Each player controls both cars, so the entire team. Each card has a separate set of tactics tokens or player tokens. These are used for attacking, blocking, slipstreaming. I'll talk about it later. Then here we have ERS. Each driver has their own set of tires. These yellow ones wear off slightly slower than the red ones, the soft tires, but these are obviously faster. Here we have those pit wall cars. These are used for both drivers. And also, this is the deck of movement cards. These cards drive the entire game. Here we have the movement numbers, so the number of spaces you move forward. I'll talk about these mechanics in just a minute. And again, the deck is the common deck for both drivers, for both cars. And here we have a room for the discard pile. The game starts with the qualification here, and it has a very interesting format. The game comes with this deck of qualification cards, and you draw 2 cards for each player, for each driver. And all players secretly look at both cards for both drivers, and you choose which card will be used for the first round of the qualification and which card for the second round. There are always 12 cars in the race, and after the first qualification round, 6 cars will be eliminated and will be placed on positions 7 to 12, and 6 cars will advance to the second round of qualification. Each card has this number which indicates the relative position in that qualification round and some illustrational lap time. So it's up to you whether you use the higher position for the first qualification round and then the lower position for the second round, which means you will still be somewhere in the top 6, or you use it vice versa. Secretly decide simultaneously for both of your drivers, so let's risk it like this. And you do the same thing with the second car, and once all players are done, all players simultaneously reveal their cards for the first qualification round. Then move your cars to the indicated positions. So this is how it may look like at the end of the first qualification round. And now the first 6 cars advance to the second round, and the last 6 cars are eliminated. However, if you're not happy with your position, you can try to do another qualification lap at the expense of starting with the tires that will be slightly worn out. If you do, let's say we're not happy with the position of this car, simply draw the top card of the deck, and if the number is higher than the previous card, then nothing happens, but you still keep the card to indicate that you attempted another qualification lap. If instead you draw the card and the card has a lower number, move the card to your new position. So here we would go to position number 11. Each car can only attempt this additional qualification lap once per entire qualification. So with those additional attempts, the final qualification standings could look like this. Then after those last 6 cars were eliminated, and you can already place them on the grid, repeat the second qualification for the remaining 6 cars. Their standings from the first qualification round is not relevant, and now each car that made it to the second round has to flip the second qualification card, and now this order determines their starting position from 1st to 6th. So note, you can even be somewhere after 25 or 30 and you are still starting from the 5th or 6th position. Now each player has to choose the soft or hard tires for their cars. Each driver has their own set of tires. Each driver has 2 soft compounds and 2 hard compounds. So choose which ones that particular driver will use at the start of the race. So let's take it like this. Place these tire tokens on the respective driver boards, and if you used additional lap during the qualification, you have to start with tires which are partially worn out. For hard tires, there are, looking at these yellow lines, there are 4 positions how you can wear off these tires. For red ones, there are only 2, first and second. These soft tires obviously wear out much faster. So in this example, move it 1 step down, then you can discard the qualification cards, and the chosen tires are also indicated on these car tokens. Each token has soft tires on one side, hard tires on the other side. And by the way, each player also has another token for each car with blue tires, which are wet tires, or if the car is not driven by players, if it's driven by AI, the AI-driven cars have these white tires. These are some sort of universal set of tires. AI drivers don't change their tires. So that's the qualification. We have the tires selected, and now we can start the race. The game is played in rounds. Each round, players are taking turns from the first car to the last car. The game has this ideal racing line which goes along the entire track. If you are on this ideal racing line, you can make a fast movement. If you are out of the racing line, you can only do a basic movement. Basic movement is simply 4 spaces, and spaces are indicated with these small lines. So this is 1 space, another space, another space, and so on. Most of the track has a room for 2 cars next to each other. The final straight is an exception. You can have 3 cars in 1 space. If you want to take the faster movement, you have to draw the card. For the basic movement, you don't draw the card, you simply move 4 spaces forward. So with the basic movement, you save your tires. And as I said, if you are not in the ideal racing line, if you are on this dirty part of the track, you can only use the basic movement. But there is another limitation, and that limitation are the corners. Corners are indicated with these, let's say, dotted lines. When you move, you cannot move past these dotted lines. You have to stop in one of those spaces. So for the sake of explanation, let's say we have this driver in the first position in the ideal racing line. If you want to make a fast movement, you simply draw the card, and now the number which corresponds to your current tire compound indicates the number of spaces you can move forward. It may have some additional effect printed at the top of the card, but here you can simply move 8 spaces forward, However, in our example, we would have to stop in the corner here. That's the limitation. And let's say this AI car moves only by 4 spaces forward, but still ends up in the ideal racing line. And now the next driver would have the option either staying in the ideal racing line, or if they are faster, they could potentially end up here. However, again, they are on the dirty track here, and on their next turn, they could only move 4 spaces forward, which is not enough to make it to the next corner. And that's how you lose turns in this game. You want to keep the pace moving from one corner to another one, so that you don't lose turns or you gain turns on your opponents. So it may be tactically better to simply stay in the racing line with the ability to move faster on your next turn. As I said, cards may have additional effects. In this case, you have to wear out your tires by 1 step. So if the tires are soft, it goes to the bottom in this case. But in this case, you also recharge your ERS. I'll come to the ERS in a minute. Other effects on these cards are normal, which means nothing special happens. But if you take a look at it, the number on these normal cards are lower than the numbers on these cards which wear out your tires. So you are slower, but you save your tires. There are other cards which give you additional pit wall cards. There are other cards which wear out your tires. Sometimes you have to draw an action card. I'll come to that in a minute as well. And that's how you move. There is another variant which is being tested and considered. Instead of simply drawing the card randomly, you may have 3 cards at the start of each round, and during the round you decide which of these 3 cards will be used for one of your drivers, which one for the other one, and you keep the next one for the next round. At the start of the next round you draw 2 additional cards, and you can decide more strategically which cards you use and how you save your tires. So this is an alternative which is being considered now. If your tires are completely worn out, you can still use the standard movement, or you can sort of risk that you draw the card with a normal keyword. If you draw the card which wears out your tires even more, so let's say this type of card, if you draw this one, or if you use that one and your tires are already exhausted, your tires will become flat. You don't move 8 spaces, you just moved 3 spaces. From wherever you are, you can only move 3 spaces until you get back to the boxes and change your tires. Speaking about boxes, each team has their own box. As I said, each player has their own set of tires. When you enter the pits, your speed is reduced to 3. When you enter the pit, when you enter the box, you can change your tires, and you can reset your tires back to the fresh tires. The current token is discarded back to the game box. It will no longer be used in the game. You can choose the new compound, let's say the hard one, and these are fresh tires. Now, I briefly talked about ERS. Every time you use the ERS, you can move 2 additional spaces. You can use it with the card, you can use it when you do the basic movement. However, you may not recharge the ERS and use it during the same turn. You either charge it or use it. Other card effects don't have this ERS symbol, so let's say you can move 6 spaces forward plus ERS, and that's 8 spaces in total. That ERS may be very, very important in order to get the pace and move from one corner to another without actually losing the turns in between those corners. After ERS, let's talk about DRS. We have 2 DRS zones on this track. When you are in the DRS zone, right behind another car, then you can activate the DRS, and regardless of how many spaces the car in front of you moves, you can move your card right away to the space which is just in front of that car. You don't draw any card, you don't wear out your tires, so this is a great way how to move forward, how to move fast without wearing out your tires. Then each player has these tactic tokens or player tokens. They are attack, block, and slipstream. Let me talk about slipstream first. Slipstream is similar to DRS if you are right behind another car in the same line, so either in the ideal racing line or sometimes even in a dirty line, but let's say in an ideal racing line, and the car in front of you moves any number of spaces, you can use your slipstream token and flip it. This number means that you can use it twice per game. If you use it first time, it changes to 1. And without using any cards, without wearing out your tires, you can simply move your car right behind the car in front of you. Attacking means you can attack the car in front of you. Again, after using it, flip it to the other side. And with attacking, you attack the car in front of you and you push it out of the ideal line and you move into that ideal line. This can be a very important strategic element, especially when you are entering the long straight. And in order to prevent it, the car in front of you can use their block. If they use the block, the car behind cannot use their attack. If you use the token for the second time, you simply discard it back to the box. So their usage is very limited. And it makes sense because using those attacks or slipstream is very, very powerful. Each player has their own set of tokens, and you may not use the tokens from one player or for one driver for another. Then there are other elements. You have these pitwall cards. These can be used for any driver. I'm not going to go through all the effects, but for example here, if you use that card, you have one block. Here we have lost the block token. So with this particular card, we can add the token back. Similar with this one. This one sets the speed for a particular driver. You would move that card next to that driver. And without using the cards, you can have the stable speed based on your current compound tire without wearing off those tires. Then, as I said, sometimes there is a card which has this action keyword. When you use such card, as you can see, the numbers here are really high. However, you have to draw the action card. Draw the top card. These cards usually have some negative effects. Here you have to move out of the ideal line. The cards are then discarded here. Let's take a look at some other cards. With this one, you can change or adjust the weather. I'll talk about that in a minute. Here you have to roll the die for any random damage to your car. Again, manipulating the weather, losing some ERS, violation of a track limits. If you get 2, you get penalization, and with penalty you have to stop in the boxes. Here you have some damage token. These damage tokens are very interesting. You have to place the damage token on your car and it reduces your speed, however only until you pass these virtual boxes or if you go into the standard boxes. On this track we have 2 virtual box lines, this one, and then you have to go to the pits. But when you cross that line, you can remove that damage token and continue normally. Sometimes cars can get damaged, sometimes you need to roll this die for any particular damage. It may happen that there is an incident. If there is, you will use these yellow flags to indicate a sector where drivers can only use the basic speed. So, for example, if it happens somewhere at the front of the field, other cars that are behind may catch up to the leaders. Then you can flip the flags to the green flag. Sometimes you will even have the safety car. If there is a crash somewhere, you will use the safety car. You will place it certain number of spaces in front of the actual crash and then line up all the cars behind that safety car. After that, the safety car doesn't actually move on the track. This is very simplified, but I like it a lot. After that, once the cars are lined up, you simply remove the safety car and continue the racing. If the accident happens somewhere here and the safety car will be placed behind the boxes, you may enter the pits and change the tires as you would do in the standard race. Now let's talk about the weather for a brief moment. You start the race with some random die roll, and the number on the die indicates where the token starts. You can move that token during the race forward, sometimes even backward, but when it gets to this blue number, the rain starts. Now, you have the option to change tires to the wet tires. However, you can only do that when you go to the box or when you cross these virtual box lines. And that's another great feature. It would take a long time for all the cars to actually go to the box, change the tires, because the race only takes 4 laps. So when you move and when you cross this virtual box, you can change your tires to the wet tires. You also change the token on your player board. And what's the difference? When you use the basic movement, then you only move 4 spaces forward. If you decide to use the card and you use the soft or hard tires, and there is this yellow icon here, is the same icon as on this die, and it means you are out of the track, then wherever you are simply out of the track. On your next turn, you can only move back to the track, and only then you can move forward on the subsequent turn. So you definitely lose some time. If you already have, the wet tires, you obviously move slightly slower, but the risk of moving out of the track is much, much lower. Some cards may still have this symbol even next to these blue numbers, for example here. So it could be risky even when you have the wet tires. I mean, simply driving in the wet conditions is risky. But most of the time, if you have the wet tires, you can take the fast movement, you can draw the cards, and the risk of getting out of the track is very, very low. On the other hand, if you are on hard or soft tires, then the risk is very, very high, and moving fast on the wet track is extremely risky. You will always drive and play the game with 12 cars. Some of those cars can be driven by AI, and AI uses this AI deck. The AI system is still being tweaked a little bit, but in a nutshell, what you do, if the car is an AI-driven car, you simply flip the top card and either move 5 spaces or 6 spaces in wet conditions. So you apply the number. If there is any tactics keyword here, you apply that keyword as well. So AI drivers can also block, or let me look at it like this. They may block, they may attack, they may also use draw the action card. So they will draw action cards, and these boxes means that if they approach the box, they will go into the box. If not, they can actually take 2 or 3 laps without going into the box. You can see they have higher numbers. So very, very simple way how to use the AI cars. So in a nutshell, that's what Falcon's Formula is about. Overall, it has a very realistic feel, modern F1 Formula 1 racing realistic feel. Not only because it has this ERS and DRS and pit stop and tire compounds, but also, yeah, there is a racing line where you can drive fast. If you're out of the racing line, if you're outside, if you are in a dirty part of the track, you have to go slower because that part of the track is dirty. You don't have the grip. You can make maneuvers there. So this is another element. We have this virtual box, which I like a lot. You may have some damage to the card here as well, here and there. But you can just simply fix it by moving through the virtual box. So it may affect you for 2 or 3 turns maximum, which is great, which In some cases, you don't even feel too much because those corners may be slow, because there may be a lot of cars in front of you anyway. But overall, it has this feel like I'm looking at the modern F1 racing. The cars which start at the back have almost no chance of winning the race. You have to, there are so many strategic decisions here. Which tires you use? How much you need to find the pace, you need to find the rhythm to move from one corner to another to another. You have to use ERS wisely to get those additional 2 spaces, which means you can get to another corner section, which means on your next turn you can move to the straight, you can use the fast movement. This is how you think about it. You have to use attacking in critical moments. Just make sure you get the racing line and the opponent does not. You have to use blocking in the critical moments just to make sure that what I just said about attacking, that your opponents don't get. Sometimes if you can enter the corner section, the first space of the corner, and use the blocking, which means your opponent behind you will have to stay behind you, which is not in the corner section yet. Which means on your next turn you go out of the corner, you go to the straight, but your opponent still has to enter that corner section, and you will create some gap between you and the car behind you. Slipstreaming, extremely important. Slipstreaming, if you are behind a car on the soft tires and that car moves fast, just use the slipstreaming, save your tires, move fast with them. So these are all the things that you must use wisely in a right moment. And yeah, those are the strategic decisions. Pit stop, using the tires. Sometimes you can actually make 3 laps with the hard tires. So you can just go with 1 pit stop. Sometimes 2 pit stops, and maybe even 3 pit stops. I've seen that as well, but that car didn't have a chance of winning. But there is a way how to save your tires, how to save turns, save your tires, and stay longer on the track without moving to the pits. Yeah, I like all these strategic elements. What I'm thinking about is there is some element of luck, and which is drawing the movement card. I really prefer the variant where you draw 3 cards at the start of each round, or maybe 2 cards. Basically, you have 3 cards at the start of each round, and you know that you can use 1 card for 1 car, the other card for the second car, and the third one will remain for the next round. Which means if you hoard these fast cards which wear out your tires, eventually you will have to play them. You cannot simply discard them. And with that, you have even more strategic elements, even more strategic decisions. But I think, at least what I tested, this is what I liked even more. But as I said, this is being tested now. It may be either as a variant, or it may be in the basic rules. We'll see. But with this, it may seem that there is there is a lot of luck in this game, but actually it is not. It's more about how you manage your car, how you manage your tires, how you manage your position on the track, rather than having good or bad luck. How you manage the ERS and also DRS. DRS is also an important element. If you position yourself so that you can use the DRS, again, that's another way how to save tires, how to move fast. So if you combine all these elements together, this is really more strategic than luck-based game. And with some additional, as I said, variants of drawing the cards at the start of the round, it makes it even more strategic. and I had a lot of fun playing this game. 12 cars is enough. It feels like there's a lot of things happening on the track, and even if you are somewhere at the front, nothing is certain. Your victory is not certain, because if you have to go to the box and the drivers somewhere in the middle of the field don't have to, they will catch up, and then it's suddenly you may go into the last lap. They may have slightly worn out tires, but if they drive cleverly, you may wear out your tires faster, and then you are in trouble. So this is, as I said, it's more about strategic decisions than luck. Yeah, there are these action cards. These action cards may sometimes deal no damage. Sometimes you may crash, which may feel like okay, that's not exactly something that may ruin your race, but it happens in real life racing as well. There's nothing you can do about it, and somebody crashes into you, or just something happens, or something happens to your car. It happens. So if you want to experience a racing atmosphere of the modern F1 racing, even with the safety car is so much fun. It's so much fun when it happens. Yeah, someone crashes, which is not fun. But then if you have the safety car and suddenly everyone is lined up in one line, yeah, it's something you don't see in other games. I love Heat. And I think there will be a lot of comparisons between this game and Heat, because it uses the similar game mechanics, because it uses cards. Cards have numbers, and the numbers mean how many spaces you move forward. You have corners and corner limitations, so they have some elements which are in common, but this is more modern, definitely a modern era atmosphere. Heat is a 60s type of atmosphere. Formula One from 60s. It doesn't have any flags. It doesn't have any safety car, anything like that. And this one does. So if it's more about the atmosphere of F1 and what may happen on the track and different pit stop strategies and these kind of things, this is definitely a game worth considering and worth trying. It is a strategy-based game, definitely. It's not a party game. It's not like you just flip cards and some move some. You can play it like that, obviously, but you can get into trouble, because if you wear out your tires pretty quickly, then you can just use your basic move, which is not enough. So it forces you to make strategic decisions. It forces you to plan ahead. It forces you to think about your moves and think about what you do. And let's see what the additional rules, small adjustments. Rules are almost final, but there are still small tweaks here and there to make it smoother, faster, even more fun than it is. And I think I will definitely have this one in my collection. Definitely. I love Heat, but I like this game a lot. And I think it will have a big potential to really become a strong competitor for Heat. It has AI cards which work very similarly to AI in Heat. So it's just you flip the card and move the car. Easy, nothing's particular, nothing complicated, which is super fun. You have 12 cars, so the track is always full. There's a lot of strategic maneuvers happening here. You have to think about every single move you make. You have to think about what other players want to do, what their intentions are, what their options are. Do they have their blocking tokens available? Do they have slipstream available? Are they going to use DRS? So all these things, I think it has a potential to really be a strong competitor for Heat, for those people who really prefer the modern F1 racing game rather than the old 60s racing game. If I would say Heat for me is more like an arcade game, which is a lot of fun, definitely. This is more like a little bit of a simulation with a little bit of luck element, but it is more of a modern era simulation. So we have to think, and all these things may happen with yellow flags and safety cars and stuff like that. And you have a limited number of tires. And as I said, getting from the back to the front is very, 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 very difficult. That's why qualification is also very important. But overall, it's fun. If you are a fan of racing like I am, this was fun. This is really, really fun. And the components are fantastic. If this were the final copy, I would be absolutely happy. There will be plastic miniatures, as I was told. And the tokens will use a different method of printing, but if this was the final copy, I would be absolutely happy. The components are fantastic, especially these tire tokens. It feels like 3D printing on it. Great components. I really enjoyed playing this one a lot, and I really enjoyed that I managed a team. That's another thing that I forgot to talk about. You manage the whole team. Sometimes you can help, one driver can help the other. Sometimes you can deliberately slow down the field with one of your drivers to help the driver which is more in front. If any of those front runners go to the pits and they end up behind your second car, you can slow them down, as in the real life racing. So it happens. All these things are possible here, and that's why I'm so excited. So excited about the FALCON'S Formula. Let me know in the comments if you are excited as well. I will post the link to the campaign in the description of the video. As I said, this is something that I definitely want to keep in my collection once the final copy will be produced. And I'm looking forward to play more and more. And I will potentially come up with more videos about strategy, about different tactics and strategies that can be used in the game. I hope this becomes really the best modern Formula 1 racing game. So that's it. That was FALCON'S Formula. My name is Branislav Berec, and hope to see you next time.